Hello, everybody, and welcome along to the Big Five Racing Podcast, talking all things National Hunt Racing, and what a week it is to do that. The early riffraff has come through, and we have now reached the perennial pre-Christmas attraction from right here in the heart of the Cotswolds. It's a delight to bring you into the 2025 Cheltenham November Meeting preview, and we have got a lot to get through today. 5 races, which will include the Shloer, the Greatwood, and, of course, the Paddy Power, the feature of the meeting. There is so much racing to get looking forward to. And, of course, we are going to take a look back at the best of the action from last week as well. Before all that, I should bring in some real experts, of course. Matty, Cotty, very good to have you both back on here on a massive week's racing. Matty, I'll come to you first. This is, it's very much a case of, you have the October meeting, which is nice to get back at Cheltenham, and it has a good feel to it. But the November meeting really is where you want to start striking festival winners, as well as winners for this meeting. A lot of target training, a lot of good performances. I'll come to Cotty in a minute about the ground, which is a huge, huge talking point. But this meeting, it means so much to so many people.
Yeah, personally one of my favourite meetings of the entire season. I think you get the quality of horse and racing, but you just get the slightly less busier crowds, which I think is nice for, you know, us regular race goers. You get a bit more freedom to roam around Cheltenham, and yeah, looking forward to being with you there both on Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, look, it's you've hit the nail on the head there. The day out itself is as good as it is at one of the festival days, especially that Saturday. The crowd is brilliant. It's nicely fled in, and very much looking forward to being there all 3 days myself. Cot, good to have you back on. We're back up the hill. It felt like it was only yesterday I seen you, to be fair, but this meeting has rolled around nice and quickly, and of course, the one thing that has been on everybody's mind, and as I look out my window here quite late at night, the rain. It has just not stopped raining here now for the best part of 3 days. The ground currently good to soft. You can forget about that by Friday. It should be on very testing conditions, which will suit a lot of horses.
Yeah, no, you'd rather the rain fall down than not. Definitely, you know, over the last couple of weeks, we've had small field sizes due to the lack of rain. So now the rain's come, should see an increase in field sizes and get the proper national hunt horses back out and hopefully see the best of them.
Definitely, fingers crossed we can just go a full weekend without a walkover. That would be nice. Just before we do get into the 5 races for this week, I just wanted to take a quick look back at some of the races from last week, just 3 in particular, from Wincanton and Aintree. This was a bit of a mixed bag, in truth. I suppose we'll talk about the elite hurdle from Wincanton first, Matty. I'm not 100% sure if you've seen the races, but Rubo shoved into 1-8 favoritism after a couple of non-runners, and then a whole load of Nicholls money fell in.
Yeah, managed to catch quite a lot of the racing on Saturday, actually. Just chilled out and watched it, albeit it wasn't the greatest weekend's racing, but it was good to catch up. I thought it was nearly a disastrous day for Paul Nicholls, but in the end he's ended up walking out with 2 Grade 2 winners, and I think he had a 1-2 in the first as well. 3 under 3.5 was a bit disappointing in the big race, but if you were on Rubo at a short price, I think you were plenty nervous watching that race. Just never looked to be travelling. Ultimately, his class got him through the race in the end. But yeah, it sounds like he's going to have a break now, and they'll freshen him up. And be interesting to see where you see him at again next. Obviously, he flicked it between fences and hurdles a bit last season. I imagine he'll probably do the same. But yeah, I mean, not too much else to talk about at Wincanton. It was, unfortunately, the weather got the better of that meeting. Normally it's a high class meeting, especially the Badger Beers is normally a very good race, big field, but it was depleted field size this year. And forget the name of the winner, the Anthony Honeyball trained horse. I thought was given an absolute peach off the front end by Rex Dingle, and a horse that's knocked on the door plenty in that race before and other like races. And no, it's good to see him get his head in front. Was it Gustavian, I think?
Gustavian, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, good to see him get his day. And Anthony Honeyball's actually started the season very well, so worth keeping on side of him at the moment.
Yeah, not a lot I can add there. I suppose just the one thing I wanted to say was it was Hamlet's Knight who ran Rubo, of course, very close in that elite hurdle. That's now 2 good seconds in very good company because he was, of course, second to Give It To Me OJ, who we all tipped up on the podcast a couple of weeks ago with the October meeting. Hamlet's Knight's going in my tracker for sure, and I'm sure he's going to pick up a grade 2, grade 3 listed prize at some stage in the season. Cot, just to come to you then quickly for the Grand Seft and Colonel Harry, the old boy. He can't be coming too far off these veteran chases himself. Jumped fantastic, good front running performance from Gavin Sheehan, and I mean, there's a lot of life left in this one. I mean, it's kind of difficult to assess like how a 2.5 mile Grand National type race can impact how he's going to run in the Grand National if he gets that far. But on the day, very good. Gaborio second for me. He's just so close to getting one, and he flew home again. But a bit unfortunate. We had terrible tips otherwise. But Colonel Harry, you had to be impressed.
Jesus, he's only 8, Bob. He's nowhere near a veteran yet.
It feels like he's been around forever, to be fair.
Yeah,
I can agree with that.
I'm not sure what Sefton you watched on the weekend, but he definitely didn't make the running either. But nevertheless, yeah, good performance. Was sat mid div pretty much the whole way round. I thought from what I watched anyway. But I think Mahane's Glory are getting confused with set the pace, Bob. By
he ran third. I mean, you made me second guess myself. I thought you might have been at the back of the TV then.
But if you go watch the race back, that Mahomes Glory was about 5-6 lengths clear the whole race. I know the colours are similar, but if you're coming on a podcast, I'd like you to get your eggs all in order next time, mate. But yeah, good performance by Colonel Harry. My race kind of fell apart after the third when Our Power came down at the chair, I believe. Obviously, probably the toughest fence to jump in national hunt racing, and definitely in this side of the water anyway. And yeah, it took a nasty tumble, but the horse and jockey were both up fine, so that's the main thing. Anything to take out the race? I thought White Rhino. Very unlike Sean Bowen ride, we talk lots about him throwing the kitchen sink at horses and getting them up on the line and whatnot. That was a very out of character Sean Bowen ride, I thought, on
that was
White Rhino.
That was a public schooling session if ever I've seen one. That was, is he going to take to the fences? I seen today he's entered in the Beechus round those fences again. I'd very much keep him on side for that because he seemed to be given a very nice time by Sean Bowen on Saturday.
Yeah, tend to agree. I thought Johnny Who ran a decent enough race off top weight. He'll be winning another big race this season, I think, for sure. But yeah, apart from that, I wouldn't be backing any of those for the national.
No, it's very difficult to jump up from that stage, of course, like we said there about the difference. I suppose Gaborio, for me, is horse I've really started to like. He's starting to pick up a lot of each way money, and again, just finished powerfully, but not unable to get up to the line in time. But if he keeps his mark kind of handy, I suppose maybe he'll have a go on the Beecher again, and maybe in a few weeks when we cover that race, I'll be back on that one again. That then was the best of the action from Wincanton and Aintree at the weekend. Didn't want to spend too long on it because we've just got way too much good racing to talk about. All, of course, from Cheltenham. Good to soft ground at Currants. Good, actually, seemingly on the chase course as well. I mean, it's hard to see how any of that's going to come into play. It shouldn't affect the plans of the favourite in our first race, and it's one of the first big 2 mile chases of the season. The 255 on the Friday is the Shloer Chase. All these races, of course, on the old ground, on the old course. The last time they'll use that before the festival. It's the old, well, I say old boy, he's still only 9 himself, but he's been around forever, and he has an absolutely stellar record, doesn't he? Jonbon, 4-6 on his seasonal reappearance, working towards the Tingle Creek, and, of course, possibly a champion chase or a Ryanair. That remains to be seen at the back end of the season. Luda Sudden here, 4-1, won on the card last year. 8-1, bigger prices about the rest. Caught you put me under the temperament with my terrible knowledge of the Sefton there just a minute ago, so I'm going to put you to pressure here on whether it's a wise idea now at 4-6 on a horse that's drifting pretty badly. He's won this the last 2 seasons. We've been there for both of those appearances, and last year wasn't as good, but he was ran well by Boot Hill. The year before that, he was stunning, and people are going to talk about his Cheltenham record and all that waffle, but if you fancy good horses at short prices, 4-6 is starting to look very tasty.
Yeah, I think maybe he might have missed breakfast, I think, this morning, Jonbon, in order to drift from 2 to 5 to 4 to 6 so quickly. But yeah, I mean, on paper, you'd have to really think 4 to 6 was value, if anything. I think I don't buy this. Jonbon's no good at Cheltenham.
Agree.
I
Absolutely.
just think that's a load of rubbish. But yeah, 4 to 6, I think, is a more than fair price. You know, you've got the horses, you know, your Edward Stones and your Boot Hills in there. Just play for places, don't they? Really interesting. Of Lourdes Surds come here, obviously was entered at Ascot a couple of weeks ago. I can only imagine the ground was probably too quick for him that day. That's why he didn't run. Is that correct, Matty?
Yeah, I think the ground was just too lively that day. It'd be much more up his street on Saturday, I'd presume. Yeah.
I thought Liberty Hunter was probably the bet to do your forecast with, maybe. As one on heavy ground, as won round Cheltenham before. Harry Cobden had a winner today and said that he was looking forward to the ride and he couldn't believe he was that big of odds. So yeah, plenty of confidence from the jockey. He did ride a winner today for Evan Williams actually as well, so he's ticking along nicely as well. Yeah, nothing really. I'd be surprised if any of the others, the Boot Hills and Edward Stones, were in the top three. Matata had a disappointing run 3 weeks ago. Calico was impressive last time out at 20 to 1 shot in this race. Had the run of the race last time, though, was out in front and jumped very well. I'll be surprised if he had it all his own way in this company this time round, and I'll be surprised if he can jump as well as he did last time out as well. So up in class, but they did do it the other day, the scouting team, with Thistleask. So never say never, but I'll be sticking with Jonbon for me. And if you wanted a forecast, I'd have Liberty Hunter to come second.
Would pay quite nicely that with him being 8 to 1, third favourite. Already sliced in from 16 to 1, actually. But with these Schleers and a lot of the races at Cheltenham in the last couple of seasons, you have a blend of established 2-mile chasers, obviously like Jonbon, Edwardstone, Boot Hill, and Matata Calico. They've all raced each other God knows how many times now. It's that kind of division at the minute. But then you've got the young pretenders, if you like, in Lourdes Surds, who's 7 and was good, of course, when he won last year on the Saturday version of the card. We were all there for the Novice Chase, and Liberty Hunter, who could perform well at this level, and then a couple of bigger prices. But equally a similar question to you. If Jonbon continues to become an attractable price, at what stage do you realise that the 168 horses who's got 11 pounds on the field here in a grade 2 should just be blowing them away?
Yeah, it is getting a bit tempting. I mean, I think we spoke this morning about, the podcast, and we kind of said, is it worth even, focusing on this race too much? I thought when Jonbon was 2 to 5, I'd never back him at that price personally, but now he's drifting out to 4 to 6. It is becoming a little bit tempting. I think it's just, I won't play anything before the race. I'll probably end up backing Lourdes Surds out of sentiment on the day as well, because he's also I spent a lot of time with when I was at Dan's, and he's obviously got ability, but it's a big step for him coming straight in. This is his first run out of novice company. To pitch him in against Jonbon, that is a big ask for him. But he showed he gets up the hill well. He jumps good, so he ticks a lot of boxes. And if Jonbon happens to be on an off day, Lourdes Surds might just catch him. I like what Cott said about Liberty Hunter. I noticed Evan Williams did have one winner, but other than that, he's been a little bit out of form, which would concern me at the moment. It's a tricky race. I don't know what I'm going to do with regards to a bet in it yet. But if you put a gun to my head now, 50 quid, it'd have to go on Jonbon at 4 to 6. But I'll see on the day with regards to what's going on in the market and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, it's definitely the market I'm going to keep the closest eye on now in the build-up over the next couple of days, just to see the fluctuations on the exchange and see like, is Jonbon going to get to even? Surely not. But at the way he is drifting, it's quite dramatic to go from 1.4 to 6.7. It's quite a big drift. So it's going to be Ludacid there. Sentiment value, but again, equally, I think 4-1's a pretty fair price. He's the understandable second favorite in this. I've gone off the rails here, like big time. I was trying to find form franking to break in. And like I said there's so much establishment with the likes of Boot Hill, Matata, Edwardstone, Calico, who I've seen at Cheltenham umpteen times, as is Cotty, of course, and none of them really spring to mind as me as a Shloer winner. I'm going to take an absolutely massive stab here at 50-1 on Hadex de Zobo at the very bottom of the market. Brian Hughes, Donald McCain coming down from the north for this one. And a lot of the justification for that is because you've got this talk about the ground situation at the minute where we're currently on good, but we could go softer. This horse only finished 4 lengths behind Jonbon at Sandown last season, and he's had a little bit of time off since, or 2 seasons ago now, rather. So you are back in, of course, on a very long comeback. He was injured last season. He had a bit of time with Gary Moore and Nicky Henderson before he came to Donald McCain. And I just thought, I was looking at the form lines on it being soft, and I thought he's won on Warwick on heavy ground. He's won on, he finished second on good to soft at Kempton. He won at Fontwell on soft. When he was in France with Niel Devadlier, he had a first at Oak-Tree, which was quite good over hurdles, and a first as well at Chateaubriand, again on heavy and soft ground. I just think if the conditions of this race chop up, if by some miracle in National Hunt Racing we manage to get 3 places, or you can find 3 places at 50-1, I just thought he's got a stab at finishing there. And to have a 10-1 finish third against the braveness of taking 1 to 2, 4 to 6 about Jonbon. Jonbon should win this. Of course he should. And I love Jonbon. And Cotty's a massive fan as well. I just thought 50-1, I think he's a great price. I really do. He's 33-1 in some places, but there's been a lot of upsets in British racing this year. Maybe this is going to be another one of them. So I've gone for a big price there in the Shloer.
Does it concern you, Bob, that it changed hands from Gary Moore to Nicky Henderson? Nicky Henderson had it for 17 months and it never saw a racetrack.
I tried to find a little bit of information on that, and I assume it was down to injury, but it was very much in detail.
What else is it going to be down to?
How's it going to be?
For 17 months, it's not going to be fit as a fiddle at home, is it?
Well, it could be. You never know. McCain might have this bastard schooling like you've never seen. I mean, some horses come to a racecourse first time out. It's more on the flat, I suppose. But some horses just come first day out and think, well, how's he been able to win that? Like, not going fresh. Like, we're still at that stage in the season until we get to Christmas where you're gambling on obviously how good a horse is, but you're gambling on fitness. This is Jonbon's seasonal reappearance. There's nothing to say he's going to be the same as he was 2 years ago when he won the Shloer last year. He could turn up and need the run. So could this horse. But I thought 50-1, why not? You can never have a crack at someone having a 50.
It's not ran for 706 days.
What, mate? You're going to be in tatters when this thing wins. Maybe it needs the run, but even if it finishes, if it runs a half decent race off the layoff, third at 50-1, who knows? It's a bit off the rails. I'll be honest.
I'd say it
pulls up before jumping 2 out. Yeah, it pulls up before jumping 2 out.
I'll give you 50-1 that there'll be 8 runners in the race, let alone them to come in the top 3.
Give me 5-1 he gets round then. And with that silence, we will move on to the next race then, the 3:30 from the Friday card as well on the Old Course. The Albert Bartlett Novices Hurdle. It's a grade 2 over 2 miles and 5 furlongs. Bit of a wide open affair. There's John McConnell comes over with the favourite Heads Up, chasing a back-to-back success with 15-8 favourite. Gavin Cromwell's over as well. Have we only have done 4-1? How good's Gavin Cromwell at these early meetings in the season? No drama this end in there for the perennial champion trainer Paul Nicholls, and then big prices about the rest. This is it's a wide open affair, this one, Cot. I suppose we've got 2 good Irish raiders coming over on one on quite a recent condition, and then another one's coming back with a 50-day layoff. John McConnell, I mean, a 15-8 favourite in a grade 2 hurdle is not something we talk about him having all too often, but clearly somebody fancies this, already in from 11-4.
Yeah, the top of the market, Heads Up. I'm going to have to just bypass that at 15-8. I think his last run at Listowel, I do like my horse racing, but me knowledge of auction maiden hurdles around Listowel is pretty limited. And I can only imagine that 15-8 to win this grade 2 prize could be on the skinny side, but I could also be very wrong. The one I do like is for Lucinda Russell. Time for Tom has had 1 run under rules at Kelso at the start of October was a short head behind Conman John, who is obviously also trained by Lucinda Russell, has come out and won at Cheltenham very, very impressively. There's actually some other form in this race from Kelsey on the 5th of October. Was 7.5 lengths clear of Great Fleet, who is also entered in this race on the Friday, and that's in at 7-1. We've not seen Time for Tom since the Kelso run, so he's coming here off a 40-day break. Great Fleet, who was third to Conman John at Kelso, took him on again at Cheltenham, did get a little bit closer. He was only 3 lengths behind him at Cheltenham. Don't really understand how Great Fleet can be 7-1 and Time for Tom be 10-1 when it was 7.5 lengths clear of it last time out, and you'd think, from first run under rules to second run under rules, you'd think there'd be plenty more improvement to come. So I do like Time for Tom at 10-1, and my old mate Master Chewy is in this as well. One of my mates said he's entered in a novices hurdle, and I thought, what? He must have won over hurdles, but he hasn't. Very good comeback run last time out over fences at Aintree. Might just put him near enough spot on for this, maybe, but is back over the smaller obstacles here. It's currently priced at 12-1, so I will be playing both of those each way, but I will be having a bigger stake on Time for Tom.
There you go. After watching Splans Tower at the weekend, I've had enough of Chasers going back to Hardle, and that was a very disappointing performance. But 2 each way prices for you then in the Albert Bartlett novices. You seemed quite contingent offline to agree with them about your pick here, Matty. Is that going to be the case?
Yeah, I'd be with Cotty as well on Time for Tom. I think, Lucinda Russell, obviously, the form lines stack up for this horse with Great Fleet and obviously Conman John. No drama this end's a horse I've always been quite keen on since he won that bumper at Warwick, but the form and the way Paul Nicholls' horses are running, I'm not gonna be piling in this time. It might just need the run. First time over hurdles to throw him in a grade 2 around Cheltenham, obviously shows what they think of him, but that's going to be no easy ask, facing rivals that have had plenty of experience now over hurdles. Obviously, the favourite, second in the champion bumper, a big price. It definitely brings the class into the race, but I think the step up straight to, an extended 2.5 miles. It's unproven at that trip as of yet, and 15-8 in a novice race where a lot of these are open to plenty of improvement. I wouldn't be keen on taking that. I just think there's no current jockey booking for Time for Tom yet. Hopefully Derek Fox gets on board, and I think this also will have a right chance. I'd be with Cot for sure. Yeah, so yeah, I'm Time for Tom for me as well.
Very nice. Good to see a little bit of a double-backed tip up there. And I think the best thing you said there, and it definitely applies to my selection here, is so many of these are open to improvement, and there's a considerable amount of them going from 2-mile bumpers a season ago right up to 2 miles 5 here. So you're obviously looking for staying contenders in the future, possibly Albert Bartlett contenders in the full 3-mile race at the festival. Whether any of these are good enough, we shall see. That's where my tip comes in. Henry de Brom had a winner at the October meeting that I missed, and you both pointed it out. I should have been on, and I kicked myself big time that I wasn't. I don't want to miss the boat again here, and at 10-1 for this King's Book, I'm quite excited about him. He's only ran twice over rules. It was second in a bumper at Gore into Sar Fatal, one of Willie Mullins' horses. It was hammered by that, but was the best of the rest home. And I think that Sar Fatal is going to be a very, very good horse this season over novice conditions for Willie Mullins, who, when you mention his name in form lines, it's never too bad. Was in a maiden at Galway then a couple of weeks ago, finished 4th, 6 lengths. I think the issue there was, and like you said there, a lot of these are looking for further over time. That race was over 2 miles, half a furlong on soft ground. I think getting the full 2 miles 5 on hopefully testing conditions is where this horse is going to get a good opportunity to improve. I thought 10-1, you are taking a bit of a risk on a decent step up in improvement against an established set of Irish favourites here with Heads Up and We Only Have Done. If Cromwell won the race, I'd be as annoyed as I was that I wasn't on him. You can't back them all. 10-1 seems a pretty decent price to back one in a novice hurdle, as you two have done there. So some nice priced ones to go in with there. The Saturday part of the card, then, this is where it really gets good. A fantastic day's racing. We'll take you to the 145 on the card, which is the Paddy Power Arkle Challenge Chase Trial. It's a grade 2 over the dead 2 miles. The fantastic mare, July Flower, comes here, the 11-8 favourite for, once again, Henry de Bromhead, who has plenty coming over this weekend. Burnett Road's back over the sticks is 2-1, been fantastic for James Owen. Big gold prices about the rest. Keep it with you here, Matty, because there's we've got Be Aware in there at the top for the Skeletons, who's ran good races in the past. Looking to get it done at the first time at Cheltenham after a couple of runs. I mean, July Flower, we were talking about one stage last season, was probably going to be the favourite for the mares at the festival, but then obviously Lossiemouth detracted and Jade DeGrugy stuck on the same path line, so she never really got an opportunity to run a race. Was still pretty decent, but 11-8 here looks to be a bit of an exciting prospect over fences.
Yeah, interesting. I didn't think this was a great renewal of this race, to be honest. It's the race Le de Sud won last year. I think July Flowers definitely got a chance, but too short for me, 11-8. I think she had a nice, easy time on her chasing debut. She's definitely not going to get that around Cheltenham. And I think it's a big ask, and at that short of a price, I wouldn't want to be going in. I'm going to go for the more experienced horse in the race. Relieved of duties, ran at the October meeting, just behind Down the Lamb. Took a big drift out that day as well. Went off 12-1 for a Gordon Elliott Rob Core horse at Cheltenham. I thought that was plenty big a price. Perhaps suggesting that might not have been. They didn't think that might not have been the day. With that experience under this horse's belt, I'm hoping he can go one better this time. 6-1, I think, looks a nice price. Down the Lamb, actually, I believe he's going to go and run in the Henry VIII Novices Chase next. So they obviously, he's a decent yardstick, country miles in behind that day. Another good horse. I just think this horse is massively overpriced at 6-1. Can't see the ground being a problem. And I did want to touch on Burdett Road. Just wouldn't be for me. I just don't think he screams chaser, to be honest. I think this is a little bit of clutching at straws from the James Owen team. He's only a small horse, and it's Cheltenham's not an easy place to jump round. He's obviously brings plenty of class into the race, but I'd have to see him, get a clear round and jump efficiently before I'd be taking him in at a short price. And I think Be Aware actually runs instead on the Friday in the 3 mile listed Novices Chase, which would be of interest of me in that race. I just think he looks to have settled a lot better now over fences, allowing him to get an extended trip. So I'll be keeping Be Aware on side, but not in this race.
This is going to sound like I'm up your ass, but everything you just said there was stuff I was going to point out. Be Aware to me screams like he wants further. I didn't think the 2 miles was right for him. I think Burnett Road, James Owen's really pushing his luck. If he can become a juvenile flat chase hybrid trainer, that's an insane achievement. But he obviously is a very good horse, and I'm in agreement. I think Relieved of Duties here at 8-1 was a very nice price. Just didn't really. I mean, he still ran a very good race at the October meeting despite the drift, and I would be hopeful that, well, I suppose there's very good racing on Ireland at the weekend, so I'm not 100% sure Jack Kennedy will come over. But if it is Danny Gilligan again, just a slightly more positive ride's all I really wanted to see from him. I think there's a very good horse in there. And like you said, connections, the horses very rarely drift. They're normally quite well backed. And I just thought there's enough vulnerability between the top 2 of the market to try and get an each-way price here. July Flower is good, and if she wins this, will be probably the favourite for the Mare's Chase alongside our old pal Dino Blue. I think she is a very good horse and would just be happy to go straight into open company if she could. But she is exciting. She could obviously go to the Arkle as well. It's an option. But I thought Relieved of Duties was a pretty decent option here at 8-1. Didn't have a strong play in the race, but I thought that's one I'll be happy to take on the Saturday. Cottrell, you're probably going to... I mean, I'd be stunned if you hat-trick this one up, but I'd be very interested if you've got either of the top 2 at the market and what your justification for them is.
No, but I really don't like the opinion of the Elliott horse. It did come second, but we were there in Country Mile, who I thought could have won the race, made a shocking error 2 out, and lost all its chances and finished third. But this horse would have been nowhere near Country Mile if Country Mile was to jump 2 out well, and then you're looking at a 15, probably like 10, 12 lengths back third, 5 finished. I wouldn't take that form with I don't think it will hold up at all. I'd probably say 8-1 is fairly skinny, if I'm honest. Be aware. Obviously, doesn't look like it's going to run with Scout and dropped up on Shaky Tail Feather. I think July Flower here at 11-8 is a very, very strong bet. I couldn't have Birdie Road at 2-1. I think, like you said, he's a small horse, and if there's one place you don't want to make your chasing debut, I think it is Cheltenham. It's a challenging track to jump around, and I wouldn't back many horses at 2-1 to make their chase debut round Cheltenham, and Birdie Road definitely wouldn't be one. Apart from that, you're looking at very bog standard horses. Jax Jr. got beat 16 lengths down the bottom by a good horse, Sam Thomas's last time out. Breaking covers, running every other week. Surely that horse deserves a break at some point. Pushed Blue Kangaroo hard to the line on the weekend. I'll be very surprised if that takes its chance a week on. And I think 11-8 for July Flower here will prove very big come Saturday morning.
Still a good enough price for you to back at 11-8?
I'd back the horse odds on in a race like this, yeah.
Okay, very interesting.
I thought the chase debut was very impressive. Jumped well. Followed to Rideau. Bar Paul Townend, I'd say he's the best jockey in Ireland. I'd have him over all of Elliott's jockeys. I think he could be the next big thing over in Ireland once Paul's had enough winning Grade 1s. But I think July Flower here is a really, really strong bet.
Yeah, we have a long overdue top 5 jockeys that we're going to get to around to one of these weeks as well. Interesting to see that you've got Darrow O'Keefe so highly up on your esteemed list, but a very fair comment. And July Flower, you're happy at the price at 11-8 already. Good stuff then. Feature race of the entire meet, and then the 220 on the Saturday, the Paddy Power Gold Cup Handicap Chase, this year in memory of Edward O'Grady. The Premier Handicap is over 2 miles and 4 furlongs. You always get a nice price about it. It's like a mini national, really, isn't it? Jagwar takes the sticks here 4-1. Oliver Greenough, Josh Guerrero, John Joe O'Neill on board, of course, and the famous Donegal colours of JP McManus. Ilrodotto, Paul Nicholls won the race last year, of course, 11-2 this time around. Sam Thomas on a fine stretch at the minute is 6-1 with Vincenzo. Big prices about Skeltons and the rest. Jagwar 4-1. You've always been big on him. Will probably, I'd imagine, probably carry top weight here if Potato ends up going to the Shloer over this. So you've got to factor in what would be a 148 rated horse, not giving a whole lot of weight away, of course, but obviously is now off a stretch of winning 4 of his last 6, hiked his way up the handicap, and from the days of the plate where he looked well in, he's obviously not now. But will the quality just get him over the line here?
I think so. 4-1 is probably a fair price. He's £9 higher on seasonal reappearance from last season when winning the plate round Cheltenham. Ilrodotto has obviously had a run under its belt and has come here, but Cobden's I've already used the interview phrase, but when Cobden had his winner here, Ilrodotto, and my weather app says there's absolutely loads of rain coming, so I think the ground might go against that. I think Panic Attack is fairly interesting. It's been well supported for the scouting team, which is also something to look out for. But I don't think this race is very deep at all, really, for a Paddy Power Gold Cup.
It's not a great renewal list, is it?
No, a 91 grand to the winner.
Yeah,
I think it's a pretty poor renewal, really. The one I would back each way is the Gavin Cromwell horse, the company Sergeant. was second to Jagwar in the plate and has had 3 runs through the summer. It's not been seen for 52 days, so a nice freshen up. And as you've already said so far this episode, Gavin Cromwell does like a big pot this time of year at Cheltenham, so that'll be interesting to see who gets chopped up on that. But I think I'm going to take the plate form and run with it, stick with it, and I'm going to go Jagwar to win and company sergeant each way. But my tip would be Jagwar.
Yeah, I didn't even give this race enough of attention to look at an each way price because I was looking down the field and I thought, like, okay, so obviously 2 or 3 of them are going to get in the places. Trying to find them was very difficult. And I'm in agreement with you at the very top there with Jagwar at 4-1. I love nothing more than a horse that knows how to get up the hill in a bit of testing conditions, as he had to do in the plates, over a distance where you know he's a pretty safe bet. Yeah, I've said this a million times on this podcast about Cheltenham. I hate backing horses off top weight, especially 12 stone, specifically at Cheltenham. I think it's so hard to get up that hill, but he's proven it to me, and we know he's going to be good enough over 2.5 miles. He is, as well, top. You always say it, Matty, the top weights and handicaps are the best horses in the race for a reason. I think that's exactly what he is. He's got the biggest scope to become a Grade 1 horse if they decide to get to that stage with him. I'm not saying he's going to win a Ryanair anytime soon, but he still seems pretty well enough in to just about use 148 as a winning mark to win a Paddy Power and pick up 90 grand for Greenall and Guerrero. Not in the best of form, it must be said. They had a bit of a disappointing week last week at Aintree as well, but like if Gaborio can run a second, why can Jagwar not run a first? I would be stunned if you're going to triple this one up, though.
Yeah, not for me. There's enough things putting me off backing him at 4-1, to be honest. Just think, like you said, trainers haven't quite hit form yet, and there's no reason to say this horse can't be the start of that. But when you're taking on 4-1 in a big handicap chase field, you sort of you want to be going in pretty confident. I just think as well, his jumping can be known to not be great, and maybe first start of the season, could that catch him out? He's not going to be, how sharp is he going to be? We'll have to see. And yeah, carrying top weight in a field like this, first time out, a huge ask. I mean, if he goes and wins this, you're gonna have to potentially be talking about a Gold Cup horse, maybe another one for JP. But if he goes and wins this and wins well, it's going to be a serious performance from this horse. For me, I'm going to look elsewhere. I think I'm going to play 2 in the race. I'll start with the bigger price of the 2. I'm going to go for Bad for Ben Paulin, hoping Ben Jones will get the leg up for, gets on well with this horse. This is a horse that when he first come over from France, they chucked him straight into the Boodles and he got very well backed. And I think they thought he could potentially win the Boodles. Didn't run very well. And then he had all kinds of problems where he would tank into races, wouldn't see them out. And I think we're forgetting, this horse is only now 6 and he's rated 145. I think he finally is just putting things together. The fact they chucked him in that Boodles says, the caliber they had this horse in. He's obviously got plenty of ability. It's just taken a little bit of time. I think he wore blinkers for a stage. But he won very comfortably on Chase on this first start of the season at Kempton. Beat Gabriel's Getaway, went on to run really well in a big handicap at Ascot a couple of weeks ago. So that form looks strong. And I just think he's a horse that's still improving at the age of 6. Jaguar's potentially in the same boat, but I think Bad just gets in here off a nice, lovely weight. Ben Paulin started the season fantastically well. I think 12-1, he could make me look silly. He's the kind of horse that could pull up. But I think at 12-1, he really interests me. And then I don't think I can let this race go without backing Panic Attack.
Shock.
Yeah, I just think 10-9, she's going to get in off here. It's absolutely no weight at all. Ran really well in this race. When Stage Star won it a couple of years ago and was sorry, not in this race, but was over this trip at Cheltenham behind Stage Star, and then ran ran some nice races last year, and I just think this will have been a big target plan from the Skeltons. We know how good they are at plotting the big handicap chase winners, and caught an interview with Dan the other day saying, you know, she's been away and had a racecourse gallop, and I think there'll be no stones left unturned for this filly coming into Saturday, and she's still around the 8-1 mark, and I think that's a lovely price. Soft ground will not be a problem for her either. So yeah, I'm going to play those two, probably each way. We'll see how the markets are looking on the day.
There's nothing more deflating than seeing a Dan Skelton horse go from 14-1 to 8-1 on a big handicap for a horse that's been off for 280 days who gets in off 10 stone 9. No, absolutely nothing, because you just know this has obviously been, and what Dan, well, obviously the opinions are well divided, but the one thing you can't blame Dan for is he is an absolute master at plotting races and knowing this was going to come down the line and how this would have been specifically left off the racetrack for so long, so its mark was left at 135, knowing there's going to be 145, 150 rated horses in here. Let's get in off 15 pounds light and try and do our best. And obviously, it's just a case of seeing whether it's good enough or not. But 8-1 there, and Bad, one of my favorites. I love Bad. It'd be great to see him. I have issues about him getting up that hill. But 14-1 for you, very nice set of prices there in the Paddy Power. Final race then we've got to go to is the Greatwood, Unibet Greatwood Handicap Hurdle on the Sunday. I very much like this race. I watched it in complete dross with yourself last year, Matty. The sky goes so black and miserable, and you realise it really is Christmas when you're watching the Greatwood at 3:30 on a Sunday. Bit of a wide open market for this one. Joe Tizard landed Alexi for yourself there a couple of weeks ago at 7-1. Mirabad changes over to the Skelton hands, 14s into 7s. Another, I wouldn't call it a handicap plot, but definitely an interesting one to take an eye on. 7-1. Celtic Dino possibly not going to go here, like you mentioned, at 8, and then bigger prices about the rest. On Alexi last time, very good for you. Picked up some nice pennies. You get 7-1 if you want to go back in today off a still pretty respectable 11 stone 4. Is that the angle?
Tricky. I think this is a big step up from that race at Ascot, but he was very impressive that day. I think I'll definitely keep on side of him. To be honest, there's nothing coming out of the race screaming at me. I think Mirabad, the move to the Skeltons is very interesting. But it's quite a free going front runner he was for Dr. Newland. Be interesting to see how Harry rides him on Sunday. But I think, you know, while they're currently both 7-1 on the market I'm looking at, I'd much rather play Alexi. Looks a very improving horse. And another one that interested me at a bigger price, Iberico Lord in here for Nicky Henderson. Took the Pertemps qualifier on Saturday at Aintree. I forget the horse's name, but very impressively with a JP McManus horse. You remember the name?
Joyce.
No.
Imposed Time.
That's it, yes. Won really, really well. Just thinking, is Henderson just starting to get his horses firing? And it wouldn't be, you know, anything out of the ordinary to see this horse first run of the season for JP and Nicky. Imagine Nico will be on board, and it's just been nibbled out in the anti-post market. So I want to be keeping my eye on, but for now I'm going to stick with Alexi, and I'll probably back Iberico Lord each way as well.
Yeah, good. Alexi, then for you and Iberico Lord, one to keep your eyes out on, win you some good money. Iberico Lord's, of course, won at the festival. Sorry, not the festival. He's won at the racecourse before. And like you said there, Nicky's probably the best trainer for comeback performances in the UK, at least, where I trust him first time out to have his horses ready. Of course, we'll see Constitution Hill come back in a couple of weeks, Jonbon on the Friday, and that definitely gives you an indication of where Nicky is with his horses and how they'll be plotted out. This is the Greatwood is a very good watch, Cop, but in terms of a betting race, as good as fun a heat it is, trying to find the winner, very, very difficult. Burdock Road won this 12 months ago, and there was some good quality horses in there last year. I'm not saying these aren't, but it definitely makes for a lot more of an interesting betting perspective.
So on the field, kind of sums up the race. It's always ultra competitive, and it'll be hard to pick the winner, but I'm going for one that Matty's mentioned, and that is Iberico Lord. It won the race 2 years ago, so I'd imagine this would have been the plan since maybe, I don't know, 2-3 weeks after his last run. They might have targeted this race. JP McManus is the man who loves a gamble, and as Matty said, it's already 16-1 into off ground. So that's a big tick in the box for me. I'd imagine, like Matty said, Nico de Boinville will take the ride. I'd imagine this will probably cut up the field. Celtic Dino's not going to run. Gibbs Island won impressively last time out at Chepstow, but bringing that into a Greatwood is a different kettle of fish. Mirabad, there's like the same colours as the Smart Hurdler back in the day, the new one. I don't know if they are the same owners, but definitely similar colours. It's interesting. First time out for Dan and Harry Scow, and it's 7-1. But if that was trained by Dr. Richard Newland and Luke Scott was riding it, I'd imagine it would have been 22-1. So no, I don't think I could have that at 7-1. So I kind of just fell on the top beat, and I fell on the Berrico Lord and just pray that the back class can come through. There's a lot of the field has never actually run at Cheltenham either. There's only a select few horses that have run at Cheltenham, so for him to run round the course is a tick, but for him to win round the course is another big tick, and for him to win the race is another tick. So hopefully he can roll back the years, and if he places, happy days. If he wins, then it's Monday off work.
Right, happy days then if anyone wants Monday off work back at Berrico Lord. Good comments about him. I mean, he was a very good horse 2 years ago, and like it's hard to ever really dismiss Henderson's horses because look what he's done with Sprinter Sacre in the past. Even you could say Constitution Hill coming back and winning that Christmas hurdle. If he doesn't go on to win anything else, he's very good at getting his horses back to the very top level, and winning a Greatwood would be exactly that. I loved your comments there at the very end, mentioning that most of these haven't performed at the course before or even ran at Cheltenham. So what I've done is taken 2 here at big prices. Don't worry, they've not had 763-day layoffs, these two, because they both ran in the conditional handicap at the October meeting. The Lupa was the victor that day as well, and I thought it was very good. Only goes up £6 for that as well. Tom Broughton's going to drop 5 back off that anyways. And this is one of Fergal's horses that I know Fergal does a lot of talking, obviously, but he's always been quite keen on this one. And I thought 20-1. I just thought he got entered in a little bit too big in the market here. The fourth that day was King William Rufus, who again is off 10 stone 7 here, and Freddie Gordon, fantastic conditional, takes off 3. Jumped quite well. His staying wasn't brilliant, so I'm hoping he's probably a bit more prominent and can maybe try and drill the pace out of what would probably be a very testing condition. I thought 33-1. No reason off finishing 4th in that conditional race. He obviously got up the hill fine, was 7 lengths behind the Lupa that day, I believe, so it was within distance, and I thought they were 2 good plays. I'd be pretty strong on the Lupa, to be fair, for this. I thought 20-1 just was too big a price. The ones at the top of the market, I wouldn't put Alexi off by any means. He was fantastic a couple of weeks ago. Was at Ascot he won at, and was very good. And equally Mirabad switching over conditions, and again you see Skelton 14s into 7s, 10 stone 13. I think I've missed the boat on that again, which is frustrating because when they win you wish you were on, but 7-1's a bit too short for me. I would have played Celtic Dino in this, but doesn't seem to be going, unfortunately, and it's drifted in the market to represent. That would have been top weight here as well. I think that's a fantastic horse. I really do think if that wanted to take its chance in a champion hurdle one day, I don't see why it couldn't go and do a golden ace personally. Be it obviously that's a miracle ask, but it's going to be La Lupa and King William Rufus for myself. On to then our nap of the week selections. Of course, you've got 3 fantastic days of Cheltenham, some brilliant racing in Ireland as well this weekend. Good to see the likes of Kopek de Boer making his chase debut and others. But we had a 1-2 shot in Ireland last week. It did go in, Cotty at the very least, and landed an unofficial 3-1 double that we all had. I won't be doing the same with Kopek de Boer. I think it's about 4-9 at the minute. Should just win, of course. But I've gone for a bigger price one this weekend. But you're the captain. Tip it off.
Yeah, we're off to market raising on Thursday. That's the 113. It's a novices handicap chase class 4, and I'm going for Rowan Co. this week as my nap of the week. It's off a mark of 94. It's only run 2 times over fences. Before that, it had 3 runs over hurdles. So obviously connections were well, they couldn't wait to get this horse over fences, is the way I see it. It's had 2 runs over fences. It's came 3rd and 1st last time seen, winning round Chepstow off a mark of 94, beating odds on favourite by 7 lengths. Comes here to market raising on Thursday, again off a mark of 94. It's got no penalty. Joe Anderson's jocked up to ride it, claiming £3, so it's technically running off a mark of 91. It's won off a mark of 94 last time out. Joe Anderson was on it that day. It's not a good. It won a better race last time out than it's in today. It's off a £3 lower mark. Yeah, I'm very, very confident that this horse will go past the post in first position, hopefully with the rider on.
There we go. The 94 rated Rowan Coe, your nap for the week on market raising on Thursday. Could we have a tip from Cheltenham, please, Matty?
Yeah, I thought it'd be rude of me not to bring us one from Cheltenham. We're going on the Friday. 3rd race, a horse I spoke about earlier, but I think Be Aware for Dan Skelton. Stepping up to 3 mile 1. Fences look like they could be the making of this horse. He's got some really good hurdle form. Look to take to fences really well at Stratford. Steps up massively in class today, but I think the favourite weighed out's definitely beatable. I think it's more the Anthony Honeyball horse to beat, to be honest. But I think the trip
that went up £14, didn't it, from beating Paddy Piper with no fences at the home straight? I backed it that day.
Yeah.
Gone up £14.
Can I just, sorry, I know this is your nap, but this always annoys me. How can they handicap and superlate a horse so significantly when it's not running under the conditions that it was officially given? Like, if you take 3 hurdles out of a race, then it's not. How can it improve its hurdle rating so much? That just really annoys me.
Well, it annoyed me the fact it went up £14 for beating Pied Piper, let alone the 3 fences.
Yeah, that as well. But...
yeah, off a mark of 146, it went off 132 last time.
Anyway,
yeah,
sorry,
man. It shouldn't have too much of an impact. I mean, it's a listed race, so it's got to give Be Aware £3, but not basically essentially running off level weights. Then really, yeah, I just think back to my nap. Yeah, I just think stepping up in trip he looks like he's finally settled. Jumps well. I just think 100 to 30 is a lovely price for this horse, and he'll definitely be one of my bigger bets on the Friday for sure, if not the biggest.
There you go. Dan Skelton's Be Aware, who I think is definitely one to keep on side of this year. I mean, he was he favourite for the Coral Cup 8 months ago, and we were talking about him being not necessarily Langer Dan 2.0, but of the quality to win that type of condition. And stepping up to 3 miles, I agree with you. Him going here over the defected 2 mile race, I think, is exactly what he needs. Strong nap there for yourself, Be Aware, and possibly one I'll be on Friday as well, looking at the card at this early stage. Mine comes from the Sunday edition. Jordan's Cross 3-1 in the 2.5 mile novice handicap chase, the 145. It's a class 3. It's currently favourite for this in a bit of a wide open affair, and I thought the price was quite nice, to be fair, against the field. Seen him 3 weeks ago at Aintree over 2 miles and was very good. Stepped up nicely there, won by 2.5 lengths. Fires up to 2.5 miles here, and I was watching that race at Aintree a few weeks ago on the box, and I thought the further this horse goes, the more he seems to be suited to conditions. And I think obviously with the hill coming into effect and other things, he has been running on a lot of flat decks, annoyingly Doncaster, Southwell, so whether he's going to take to the hill is kind of the big thing you're betting on. But I thought 3-1 here. Anthony Honeyball, I think someone mentioned it earlier, in fine enough fettle here. Ben Godfrey takes the ride, and thought that was a nice one against the field. On the Sunday, hopefully by that stage, you've got your pennies in your bank, so you don't need to back it, which would be nice, which takes us to the end of our Cheltenham November Meeting edition. I mean, Matty, we're gonna nightcap this with the idea that if you had nothing better to do over the weekend, with no football on, unfortunately, bar the England playing, just stick the TV on and just enjoy some of the best National Hunt horse races and some big names. Of course, Jonbon's the headline name of the entire meeting, and really start to get into the National Hunt season now. This is a great weekend for it.
Yeah, I think, get a nice warm-up on Friday, only the 6 races, so but still some quality action. And then Saturday is just filled with quality. I think it's just relentless all day, and Sunday a little bit quieter. And then you've got the Greatwood to sort of finish the meeting off. I think it's a perfectly organised meeting. I mean, they constantly fiddle with races at the festival change, and I don't think this meeting needs any fiddling with. I think it's perfect. And yeah, buzzing to be there Friday and Saturday. Yeah, be good to have a day out with us all, and hopefully plenty of the lads are turning up, and more importantly, plenty of winners. And yeah, no, really looking forward to this weekend.
I'll tell you what's a bit of a shame. I was hoping to go on a little date with you on the Friday over to the cheese wedges of the cross country, but of course that was abandoned a couple of weeks ago. And my autism really kicks in because I love just walking over and being able to be in the middle of the race course. It's a bit of a shame that's gone, isn't it?
Yeah, I've never had the chance to do that personally. So if it was on, I'm sure I would have joined you on Friday. To be fair, but potentially the ground will end up being fine there with the amount of rain we're getting this week. But obviously, you know, at the time of I suppose entries coming out, the ground wasn't safe, so they probably made the right call. And I'm sure is it one at the Christmas meeting or the next cross country race?
I think it's New Year's Day.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll be absolutely stacked now. So you know, maybe it'll turn out to be not too much of a bad thing. This one's been called off.
Yeah, there'll be more Irish horses in that New Year's Day one than there will English because
it's Trials Day they're doing it.
Oh, Trials Day. There you go. Has that been converted to an 8-race card now because of the abandonment? That's fantastic. You'd love to see that. And we get the Clarence House every year because Ascot gets rained off, so that's a 9-race card. Happy days. They made the call early, unfortunately, but John Pullen is an absolute master of what he does, so it was clearly the right call. Cot, I mean, this is good fun. I know I won't see you the Sunday because you'll be in a bad way, but what a weekend this is. Big boxing, big racing. I'll tell you what I'm looking forward to the most with you. That card on Navan on Saturday is an absolute joke of a thing. You've got the Yellow Clay, Marine Nationale, Kopek de Board. I'll tell you what, I wish I was in Ireland, not Cheltenham.
Yeah, I think well, definitely won't be watching the boxing, but that Navan card will be a watch on Sunday morning. I think it's Guinness and Cheltenham on Saturday for me. Won't be I'll be recapping Navan on the Sunday.
So you're not going to have a bet on Navan on Saturday?
Well, if I do have a bet, it won't be big, and I won't be watching it.
Okay.
I'll have a bet on England on Thursday, but I might not watch it.
You'd rather back a 1-16 shot in a friendly game against 5-4.
1-3 to beat Serbia, actually.
Oh, right, are they? Well, that's all right then, isn't it?
Who in Northern Ireland got?
I have not got a fucking clue who Northern Ireland have got.
Well, you ought to.
I'm not from Northern Ireland. That's failed terribly on you there. I'll go find out after this podcast who they are, and I might have a little double with my 50-1 shot in the Shloer. Thank you both, boys. That was a great fun little hour to take you through the November meet, and hopefully we found you some winners in there, be them short prices, big prices, some great racing. Do enjoy it. I'm looking forward to seeing plenty of you there at the November meet, and come and annoy us if you see us. We'll be on site all 3 days, and it will be a pleasure to see you all there. Have a good time at Cheltenham. Have a great weekend, folks. We'll be back next week.